So we're getting real close to The Chosen Season 5. I'm hoping that we get an official trailer soon. However, The Chosen did just drop a wrap video for 2024, which shows the wrapping of every single actor as they get finished with Season 5. This shows us some really interesting things because it shows us the very last scene that each actor shot. Some of which we can definitely guess, and some of which give us new insight for Season 5 overall. So let's jump into this, and right off the bat, we get a really interesting thing right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a wonderful day when Kirk is here as Gaius, but alas, it is a picture wrap for our Gaius, Kirk Waller, for Season 5.
So this is Kirk Waller, who we did not see at all in any of the behind the scenes for Season 5. The only thing that we saw him in for the behind the scenes of Season 5 was actually an advertisement for the best Christmas pageant ever. That's the only thing we saw him in. Now, I don't expect that we'll see much of Kirk as Gaius in this season here. He's obviously in Capernaum. He's next to Matthew's tax booth. So there's a couple things that could be happening. This could be a flashback, though I don't think that it is. Actually, it has to be, no? Because of what he's wearing. It has to be, maybe. Let's see here. Is that? I don't think that's Rivka. My brain's just spinning here. Because him wearing this shows that he is not the praetor of Capernaum. So this is not him as the praetor of Capernaum, which means this is probably some sort of flashback. So I don't know if we're going to see Gaius in this season as the praetor. This is so interesting. I don't know where this could be. Why would they do another Matthew flashback? Like, they've done so many of them at this point. What would be the purpose of it in Season 5? I don't know. But that's definitely him, like, next to the tax booth here with his regular soldier armor from Season 1, basically. But we got no indication that he was basically even in this season until this. So that's really interesting.
It's also a...
Yeah, so Paris as well looks like definitely him early tax collector days. Man, what could they be showing that they haven't showed already? Like, there's nothing biblically that they're going to show here. They've done so many Matthew flashbacks. Why would they do another one? Huh. That's interesting. I knew we were going to get other flashbacks this season, but I did not know that we were going to get another Matthew flashback. That's really interesting.
Season 5 picture wrap on Paris.
But you see, this is the last thing that they filmed. So, of course, it's going to be the last thing because they need to shave his beard. He's not going to have time to regrow it, right? It's not a fake beard. So, of course, this is the last thing that they shoot because it's a flashback of him when he was younger.
On our Philip.
This is going to be a recurring thing that we're going to see. Now, Philip is done here in this forested scene. We also see a bunch of the other apostles being finished here as well.
Reza. That is also a Season 5 picture wrap on Noah.
So real quick, this scene, I have no idea what it could be other than potentially the Garden of Gethsemane. That's where I would imagine most of the apostles are ending their time on set, unless there's a flashback, which there are several flashbacks for different people throughout this section. And so this does not seem like a flashback. This seems like they're all wearing their hoods, which is what we see them wear as they're going towards the garden. So I believe this scene to be the garden, but they are facing the wrong way, obviously towards the light over here and towards some of the chairs and different setups for the moment here. I think that's intentional because they don't want us to spoil anything about the garden, which is probably behind the camera here. Would be my guess anyway.
That is also a Season 5 picture wrap on Noah.
So Z is done here. Again, kind of looks like an older, kind of flashbacky moment. You can kind of see the difference here. Maybe not. He actually has like more of a beard here.
wrap on Noah.
You can see his beard there. It's almost more beard here. Although, is he holding a dagger? Is that a dagger there? Right there. Is that his Sikar dagger, or at least a scabbard for one? Or is this a dagger on the far side? Looks like it, right? Yeah, it looks like that's a dagger over. Yep, definitely. There's the next shot right there. So this is definitely a flashback of Simon. He's got his Sikar dagger right there. And so that's clear as day. That's the dagger that the Sakari would wear for the Zealots. Maybe this is making some sort of connection for some new characters that we're seeing that are Zealots as well. I don't know. There could be a lot of different reasons for that. But it's interesting that we're getting so many flashbacks of so many different characters. Really interesting.
Our
Thomas as well. You see a flashback again of Thomas. He doesn't have a beard, which is so strange to see Joey without a beard. But yeah, there it is again. We see another flashback here.
Joey V.
I wonder if that means that we're going to get Ramah in season 5 as well. Maybe when he first meets her, or something else. That would be quite interesting as well. I wonder if we'll get that. A lot of people would love that for season 5. Yeah. Let's see what kind of clues we can poke out here. We've got, obviously he's in some sort of house. We don't see any other characters that are around. Seems like a really close-up shot of his face while he's eating or something. There's definitely a bunch of stuff on the walls. We got a bunch of food in different pots. Some wheat hanging up, some herbs to dry, different things like that. I'm trying to look at anybody else in the room. Of course, we got Keith, Dallas, Dan, Alan. We've got a bunch of people in here that are just part of the crew, but I don't see anybody else. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content and you want to see us making more stuff just like this, then the best way to support us is through snipesupport.com. You can pledge $5, $10, or $25 a month in order to help us to continue making content just like this, regardless of how YouTube treats us or how many people they send it out to. It really, really helps. And on top of that, you actually get to see a lot of our content early, or even extra content that is never going to be on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff over there that is just for our Patreon people, including full live streams that are more than just what you're seeing here on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to have you over there. And of course, yeah, let's continue on with the video. Yep. Same thing here. It looks like Nathaniel this is a flashback. It's so hard to say, but it looks like another flashback here. Looks like Nathaniel as well. There is a loot of some sort that he's got here. This looks like the Capernaum synagogue, but it could be something else. Could be being shot near here and not exactly on here. Either that, like, there's no reason why he would be going back to Capernaum. Yeah. Man, it's so hard to tell without context here of what we're looking at. But I would guess, since we're seeing so many others, that this is a flashback as well.
Nathaniel. Wow. That's also a picture wrap on Amber.
So these are all the ladies. The ladies are basically all done here. This is pretty early on in the filming, so I guess we're not getting that much of Liz Tabish this year. Looks like she's not doing too much in this season, where obviously, of course, it's going to be focused more on the apostles and on Jesus as they're going into the garden and into the betrayal and all that kind of stuff. So that makes sense, I guess. But yeah, the ladies are all done here. Amber, Liz, and Amy, I think, as well. And this is in that house, which we have confirmed 100%, by the way, is Phoebe's house. Not only did we get that confirmed by someone online through the set designer online, James Cunningham, but also on the Brosen podcast, same thing. He said that this was Phoebe's house as well.
And it's even a picture wrap on Liz as Mary Magdalene. Yes.
So even she seemed surprised. She's like, "What?" Like almost like that's it, you know? I'm sure she's used to filming the whole entire season, but this was actually pretty early on.
That is a season 5 picture wrap on Demetrius and Sophia.
I believe this is the Passover, but not in Jerusalem, in Bethany at Lazarus's house. I think the boys are all staying in Jerusalem and everybody else is staying in Bethany here. We've got all the ladies, we've got Zebedee, and obviously all the travelers. So we've got Mother Mary, Martha, Lazarus, Zebedee, Salome, Mary Magdalene. We've got Tamar. We've got Eden is actually here as well. So I think this is like kind of like a separate Passover since Jesus wanted just the apostles at his.
And Catherine. And Vanessa. And Lotta.
So we are going to see Eden in this season, but I don't think we're going to get that much of her either. I think she's going to have a small role as well.
And Nina. That's a season 5 wrap on our Abe. Our big Jim.
So look at what Jesus is wearing here. So he's got, this is Jonathan Rumi clearly, but he has that same white kind of hoodie that he's been wearing throughout the rest of the season, as well as this shawl on the outside. This is what we believe we saw him wearing on the way to the Garden of Gethsemane. And so I think that's where we are here as well.
James.
And so we see Abe.
That's season 5 wrap on George, our John.
We got John here wrapping out as well. Same thing. You're seeing him kind of hooded up. He's got that extra layer of clothing. This is what we saw all of them wearing on the way to the garden. So I think it has something to do with that or around that time. I'm not 100% sure though, because there's some other actors around here, which obviously wouldn't be part of the scene, I don't think. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Our Peter, not Simon, Peter.
Same thing. He's got that extra clothing, that hoodie on top, his bag with him as he's carrying through.
That is a season.
Now, this originally, I was like, surely this is the Garden of Gethsemane, this scene here. Although I do not think that that is the case anymore. I think that this is a flashback as well. This is the final scenes for these three, basically. So little James, Thaddeus, and I think Jonathan's done here as well. But you can see here, Jonathan looks a lot different than he did. His beard is a bit shorter. He doesn't have the same clothing that he's wearing all throughout season 5. And they're covering his hair. And I think that's very intentional. Thaddeus also looks a bit younger here. And then we see little James also looks quite a bit younger here as well. We saw different scenes with them that he looks similar to this, where he has that kind of younger appearance, where he possibly could be trying out for the Jerusalem choir and things like that. As we know, he was part of the 288 previously, or he was trying to be part of the 288 before he started following Jesus. We also have confirmation that we are getting in earlier backstories of little James and Thaddeus as they went to go follow Jesus. For example, we're going to see Jesus and Thaddeus start to build the toilet that they talk about in season 1, which will be a really cool scene as well. So yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't think this is the garden. I think this is something else. I could be wrong, but I think the reason why they're covering up their hair, for example, is because they didn't want to shave their hair. And Jordan, if you haven't realized, has really long hair now, and so does Jonathan. So I don't think they wanted to mess with their hair, whereas Thaddeus, his hair is basically always the same, so it's not a big deal. I think the other two, they covered up their hair on purpose in order so that they didn't have to change it for this scene. That makes the most sense to me. Since it's such a small scene probably throughout the series, they didn't want to mess with their hair in order for them to have it long for next season and all that kind of stuff. So
Season 5 picture wrap on our little James Jordan Ross. That is a season 5 picture wrap on our Thaddeus Giovanni. Jonathan and I have been doing this for over 10 years together with this role. Let's say this year has been by far the most difficult when it comes to all the long scenes and long speeches that he's had to manage over the course of multiple days, and probably your best year in terms of just patience and fighting through all the challenges and difficulties. It's been a beautiful, beautiful season and performance. That's a season 5 picture wrap on Jesus, Jonathan Rooney.
Yeah, good stuff. I think overall, nothing crazy that we're seeing here of like, nothing crazy that we're like, oh my gosh, mind-blowing season 5 leak, but it looks like we're getting a lot of flashbacks. Looks like we're getting most of the apostles are closed in on the Garden of Gethsemane. That's what I'm convinced of. And then we get Gaius as well, which is a really cool surprise because I didn't think we were going to get much, if any, of Gaius. But of course, I know that Dallas is partial to Kirk, of course. Kirk has been in every single one of Dallas's projects throughout his lifetime, so makes sense that he would want him in every single season of The Chosen if he can put him in there at least a little bit. So yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one. Did you see anything that I didn't quite see in the wrap-up there? I thought it was quite interesting, but anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.